edition of what's technically supposed to be one video. This one will be very short, but the babies, this only makes sense if you watch the other one. The babies consistently chose the shape, regardless of which shape or color it was. The babies consistently chose the one that was kinder in the puppet show. So, this shows, at the very least, babies learn morality really fast. It doesn't necessarily mean they're born with it, but it's hard to differentiate between whether this baby that's younger than 3 months and doesn't display any preference towards the good or bad shape is immoral or incapable of morality or uneducated, whatever it may be, or if it's just dumb. Because babies are stupid. I don't. Babies are really dumb. So it's hard to say, oh, this baby doesn't have an inherent sense of morality because it can't decide it doesn't like this shape because it was mean, but it also can't decide where its foot is. So it's hard to say it's being immoral or acting without morality because they're really acting without any kind of decision making. It's just hard to say. So do humans have an inherent sense of morality? It's hard to tell. Are humans inherently immoral? Likely not. I don't think humans are born evil, and I don't pick sides very often. So obviously take that with a grain of salt. That is my personal opinion. I don't let that come in to what I'm saying. Generally, all I want to do is educate. I do not want to change any of your opinions. I want to give you all of the information I have, and you can choose how you want to feel. But I believe, this is personal opinion time, I believe, though, humans are not born inherently immoral. I know that to be true, at least in. I am entirely sure within myself that humans are not born inherently evil. Humans are not born inherently against the sense of morality we've established for society, though I don't know necessarily if humans are moral. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if they're entirely neutral on morality or if they're good, if they have a sense of good and bad. Because, yes, you can say these babies at 3 months haven't experienced much of life. So, if they're gonna learn, right? If morality is learned, they probably haven't learned it yet. Because they haven't been around very long. And that's a perfectly reasonable argument, but they may have. 3 months, while not very long, is enough time for this baby to see things happen. Babies are really good at understanding emotions. They tend to mimic emotions of things around them. They tend to mimic emotions of things around them. Babies are insanely empathetic, as are pets. This means babies will generally be able to dislike and like people. If you're really mean to a baby, even if it's 2 months old, it's going to like you less than someone who gives it affection, even if this person is not their parent. Babies just automatically really like their moms. Just biologically they're going to do that. But even if this is a random stranger who's nice to the baby, this baby, even if it's 2 or 3 months old, is going to like that person more than you if you're mean to it. So, the baby experiences effectively the same thing in the puppet show, where even though it's not experiencing the thing the circle is, or whatever it is, even though it's not experiencing the thing the climber is, it can still imagine itself as the climber, experiencing the same things the climber did, and it doesn't want to experience those things. And the baby, because it's kind of stupid, doesn't really understand, this is speculation, doesn't really understand these aren't real beings. It doesn't understand the shapes aren't real. It thinks, this baby thinks, if it plays with the mean shape, it will experience the things the mean shape did to the guy that was trying to climb. It doesn't want that, so it wants to avoid it. But then this almost comes back into cynics again. Does this baby think this guy is bad, or does it not want to play with this toy, or shape, whatever it may be, because it's going to affect it negatively? But it's super hard to be to discuss cynicism with toddlers because they're not even smart enough to know things. Toddlers are stupid. they're really, really dumb. It's hard to say if it even has the thinking capacity to know that something is good for it, or to know that's why it's making that decision. Most babies, like I said before, don't even know their own feet belong to them for a very long time. It takes about 6 months for a baby to recognize its own reflection as itself in a mirror. That's really bad. So it's hard to say the baby is making this decision because it knows this, because it is deciding within itself, it is rationing, it is rationalizing. Oh my god. Ow. Just popped my wrist. It is deciding in its mind, this shape was rude to this other shape, and I believe because it was rude to this shape, it will likely be rude to me in the same manner. So, even though I don't necessarily care that it has committed a moral injustice, I do not want it to commit this moral injustice on me because it would affect me negatively. I would be hurt by it, and I'm the only person I care about. And because of that, I will avoid playing with this toy. Whereas if I knew, for whatever reason, it was not willing to commit these moral injustices on me, I would be perfectly willing to play with it. Because that is the only problem. The only problem is that it threatens my well being, not that it threatens the well being of others. That's not something a toddler is going to think. The toddler is going to think goo goo gaga, and that's going to be the end of the thought. So it's hard to really say this toddler is a cynic, or it's hard to really say this toddler is being selfish, because I don't even know if it has a concept of what its self is. So, yeah. Anyway, it is midnight. I have military time on. Don't mention it, because I already did. Won't help you to mention it. I'm aware of it. You guys are all aware of it. I said it. No one else needs to say it. So, I will be going to sleep. It is 12:02 p.m. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Sleep well. Stay hydrated. Love yourself, because you should.